Yo, so it is pack a lunch now. This is an interesting one, right? Because we had six, half the fights went the distance. Well, a little bit more, but we'll get to those. But not all these fights. It's a bit like last week, right? Not all of these fights are made equally because some of them were just insanity, which was pretty great. Now, it all started off with the light heavyweight cash, right? Cody Brundage against Eric McConico, right? Now, this was the fight that got brought together on crazy short notice, right? So you wondered where it might go, because, if it's short notice, are they going to be tired? Like, is this going to be a mess? And also, I wondered about Brundage because, he's been rocked hard recently. So you're just like, how's this going to be? And it kind of got nutty, man. Like, it opened up and McConico, boy, yeah, he lands a big shot, puts Brundage down, right? And you're like, oh, shit. And then he rushes in to finish it, and you're just like, no fouls, right? No inadvertent head clap. Yeah, we don't need any of that. We do not need another Brundage fight ending in controversy. Can we just, you know what I mean? So that's it. But I think, I don't know if it was the fact that it's a short notice fight, right? That if it is the worry about the gas tank that led McConico to rush in like that. Because I think if he had been a bit more, measured, he might have got a stoppage early. Right? But rushing in allows for the clinch, and Brundage, he's a savvy vet. You know what I mean? So that's good. Because now he's got you close and he can try and survive, right? So, we had McConico on top, like landing shots, all of that jazz, and just doing a very good job of keeping it on the ground. Now, Brundage eventually was able to get up towards the end of the round, and then he started to throw, right? And land some good shots. And you're just like, wait, hold on. What's happening here? You know what I mean? Where's this gonna go? Because at some points with the shots Brundage was landing, you're like, is he gonna stop this fight? Like, fuck. Where are we going? And so the second round starts, and Brundage lands some shots, some decent shots on the feet, and I think a lot of it is the way McConico was kind of his stance, right? It wasn't always the best. He's leaving himself a little open and off balance, right? So you just say, is he rocked? Is he just, but it's not great. But he's then able to get the fight to the ground, and on the ground, he's doing a lot better, right? So he's able to hold it, and Brundage does get up, but McConico gets it back down. So it's just this crazy fight that on the feet, Brundage at times is landing big shots, and you're just like, fuck. But McConico does put him down again with a leg kick, In the third, Brundage definitely comes out like, yo, man, we need to, but again, McConico gets it down. Now, he can't hold it as long, so Brundage does get up, and so we get this crazy one of, fuck, is Brundage going to stop it on the feet? And obviously, I'm saying, oh, fuck, because I picked McConico to win. So I'm just like, yo, is Brundage going to fuck up my, you know what I mean? My predictions this early? God damn it. But then McConico lands some big shots. So it is this back and forth craziness. And yeah, McConico does get the nod, which I did think was... McConico definitely did win the fight. It was a split, which it wasn't a split, right? It really wasn't. You know, McConico definitely won it. And I think, you know, I think it's fair giving it 29-28. You know, I think that's a fair one. I mean, one judge gave it 30-27 to Brundage, which that is insane. You know, I think it was a close fight. No one won that fight 30-27, especially not Brundage. It's just like, I don't know how you give it. And I think this is a big thing of why the judge's name should be by the score. I mean, the judge's name should be by the score. And when it's a decision like this, you should have to go, this is why I gave it to this person in this way. You know? Because maybe your justification makes sense, but you just have got a wrong view on the rule set, right? So then you can just take a course and, you know, work everything out. Or if it's so just you're crazy, then you just don't get to judge anymore. But it would just stop some of this silliness, you know what I mean? So next we have Julius Stoliarenko against Gabriella Fernandes. And Stoliarenko is great with the jiu-jitsu. Really slick on the ground. But her problem has always been getting the fight to the ground. You know, and she's at a different camp with really good people who can get the fight to the ground. But it seems that is still her issue. That is still the bridge she cannot cross at the moment. Which is, I don't know, man. Like, you kind of feel when you're at this point, you need to work on certain things. You know, when she got to the UFC, right, it should have been that honest look at, right, okay, I need to work on this part of my game because I know I'm going to be with a load of people that can take down and can stop takedowns, right? So I need to perfect that side of my game. And for whatever reason, Shevchenko just has not. So, yeah, Fernandes was able to stuff all the takedowns, right? And then just land on Julia. And I think the big difference was the combinations as well. Fernandes was landing combinations. And Shevchenko was, you know, single kind of shots, right? Single shots. Now, come the third round, Shevchenko, like, she needs a finish. She lost the first two. She needs a finish. And, hey, credit where credit due. Throughout this fight, Shevchenko showed toughness and heart, right? And then in that third round, she came to look for the finish. Now, she didn't get it, right? But she did everything to try for it. Fernandes really did take her foot off the pedal as well, which was a little bit crazy. Like, if I was her corner, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Just because you know what judges are like, right? Sometimes it can get messy and crazy. So what if you aren't two up? What if that? Taking your foot off the pedal in the third, you lose the third, now you've lost the fight because you weren't two up, you know? So yeah, she needs to work on that aspect. She cannot do that again. But Fernandes is now free on a 3-fight streak, so we will see where that goes. So there was another light heavyweight clash on the card, right? It was Raffael Cerqueira against Julius Walker. And this fight, my God, this fight was crazy. Like, at the start, Cerqueira could not miss. Oh man, he was landing big shots. He really was landing really good fucking shots. And again, I'd picked Walker to win, right? So I'm just like, fuck, this is not good. You know what I mean? Sorry, people. Needed a little hit of coffee, you feel me? But, yeah. The problem for Cerqueira was he could not stop a fucking takedown. Jesus Christ. You know, you have Stoliarenko not being able to get one and Walker just getting takedowns at ease. Oh my days. It was craziness, right? He was taking him down. And yeah, that's allowed him to win this fight. Now, at times he wasn't doing a lot with the takedown, you know? But he was getting it down. And as this fight went on, you could see, man, they were getting tired. They really were getting tired. But I think Cerqueira was... Cerqueira even. He was getting more tired, right? And in the third round, it was harder for Walker to... I didn't say it was harder, but Cerqueira stuffed a few of the attempts, right? But then Walker was able to get it to the ground, right? He was able to get it to the ground and do his thing, you know. But Walker did land some shots. I think the big thing was it seemed that he was worried about standing and throwing, but when he did connect, he put Cerqueira down with a shot. He hurt him with a big body shot. He really, he kicked. No, was it a knee? No, it was a body kick. Body kick hurt him, but when he didn't even really pay attention, and he just from the kick went to a takedown. Now I do feel that is for your corner to tell you he's hurt. Get up, right? Get up, and you could probably stop this fight because he was that hurt. But they did not, and Walker stayed on the ground, which, you know, it kind of worked for him, and it turned out in the end. But it is one of them ones where, if you had lost that fight, I think you'd be super pissed that your corner didn't fucking give you the heads up, you know? But in that third round, they were going back and forth. It was crazy. And you thought that Walker was hurt, and then he hurt Cerqueira. Oh, man. that was a crazy fight, but you're just like, both of these guys need to work on their fucking technique because so many holes, man. So many holes, you know? We had Miles John against Jean Matsumoto. Right, that was on the main card, right? Second fight on the main card too. And man, like, John's had a really good first round, right? Got it to the ground, everything. But I think the big thing with this fight was John's was really trying to sit down on every shot, land big. But Matsumoto was combinations and fluidity. He was moving so well. And as the fight went on, he just got even more comfortable. He got slicker. And he's just putting it together. The speed and just all of these things were, you know, what won him the fight, really. You know, he had the reach as well on John, so he's able to utilize that. But Johns never gave up on himself. Always pushing forward, trying to get inside. And I think in the third round, he definitely was doing better. He was definitely doing better. Had moments in the second, but yeah, Matsumoto did a really good job of, you know, utilizing his reach, utilizing that jab and some kicks, and really just the combinations, you know, because Johns wasn't throwing combinations really. You know, it was mainly one, maybe a 1-2, but Matsumoto was really putting it together, which was just slick as fuck. Slick as fuck. You know what I mean? And yeah, he got himself a really good victory there. So, oh man. Andre Fili against Christian Rodriguez. This fight was... I mean, this fight had Andre Fili, and especially in that first round, fighting maybe some of, like, his best 5 minutes that we have seen in ages. And that's no disrespect. That's not saying that Fili is usually shit or bad, right? But Fili can be his own worst enemy. Right, and I think I said in the preview, right? He can leave himself open because he's trying for a war. He's looking to have fun and be entertaining, which is all great. But it can leave you open, and that's why he is being, you know, not winning all the time, right? But this, in the first fight, in the first round, he used his range, his reach and kicks so well. So well, man. Like Duncan. Rodriguez was just not able to get inside because he wanted to be inside to land. Because Fili had the reach advantage and he also had the speed, and he was just really putting it together so well. Now, a bit like Stoliarenko, Rodriguez did not ever give up on himself and was always pushing forward, looking to try and get inside. And he, as the fight went on, he was able to get inside a bit more, right? Feeling, you know, you could see it's like having that devil and angel on your shoulders, right? And you could see he did such a good job in the first round. And the devil was probably on the shoulder going, yeah, but you want a war, right? you want it to be crazy. You want that crazy, right? You want that crazy, right? And yes, there were times where he was just like, fuck it, let's throw, you know? And that allowed Johns to get, into the fight a little bit more. But then Fili would just be like, oh, what am I doing? And he'd get back to doing what he was meant to be doing. So, props to to Christian Rodriguez for, just never giving up on himself. But Andre Fili could not be denied. And he got a tremendous win here. And we got glimpses of old school Fili, and it was glorious. Oh man, it was. So our featured bout, that's our last decision that we will be looking at. And we had Angela Overkill Hill against Lucindo. Lizam. I forget how they pronounced it, to be honest with you. But this fight, man, like the big thing with this fight was the combinations. Lucindo was all about fast combinations, and Hill, she was more ones and twos. But Lucindo was just so sharp, and she's throwing heavy and combos. Right now, he'll try to get it to the ground a few times, and at least a couple of those times, Lucindo was able to use her, positioning to end up on top, right? Not what you want when you're trying to get a takedown. You don't want to end up on fucking bottom. Oh my days, right? But yeah, Lucindo was just relentless. Oh man. And she was coming off a loss, and you could see that, she was not prepared to lose again, right? And so she just really put it on Hill. And I think in this fight, right, I don't think we've seen it before. In this fight, Hill definitely looked her age, It definitely looked like she was just a step behind a lot of the time, And yes, some of that is for sure because Lucindo was doing such a good job, But it also just, Hill just was not, I say, a usual self, right? Because I think we have seen Hill put together really good combinations and, have really good fight IQ in there. Saturday night, we just weren't necessarily seeing that, You know what I mean? So it's one of those things, right, where one person fights really well, and then the other person, you can tell that for whatever reason, shit just was not going on that night, But we got 6 fights, and as I said, some of those fights were fun as fuck, were crazy, you know what I mean? So yeah, back at lunch, it's alright, man. We had some decent fights, but now we are crash bang wallop.